Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to my online class, my dear pupils and viewers. Hope you are well by the grace of the Almighty Allah. I am also well by the grace of Allah. Stay home, stay safe, give up all kinds of intoxicants and avoid all kinds of intoxicants. My dear students and viewers, today we will discuss on tech question part 4 in English. Please look at the board, please. Some subject pronouns. One is a noun, one is also a pronoun. So the pronoun will be one. There is not pronoun, but there and here sometimes there and by here and there adverbs we start sentence. They are called introductory, they are preparatory, they are non-referential, they are anticipatory, they are provisional, they are it has 5 names. In tech question we will take there as subject. When after no adjective we find body or one, then we will use they. But when we will find after no adjective any noun, we use any pronoun instead of no. For no, I mean for no. When Allah, God and Lord comes, they mean creators. We will use for them he pronoun. But we will write he pronoun with capital letter he. In the starting of the sentence, in the middle of the sentence, in the end of the sentence. So when by Allah, God and Lord we mean the creator, we use capital letter he pronoun for them, and we will write the he pronoun with capital letter he in any position of any sentence. Goddess. By goddess, when we mean the wife of God, wife of God. So we will use the pronoun for goddess she, and we will write as of she with capital letter, in any position of a sentence. But when we get God or goddess with small letter, they are the children of God and goddess. So we will use small he or capital he with he or she with capital letter, or with small letter. For example, one can eat 2 oranges at a time. Can is modal auxiliary. Here we bring can. The sentence is affirmative. That tag question will be negative. We bring not and make contracted from can't. And the pronoun of one is one. So, can't one. At last we use an interrogation mark. Only Allah can help us. We bring can as modal auxiliary, and the sentence is affirmative, so the tag question will be negative. We make contraction. Cannot is equal to can't. When we write can and not, we don't keep space or break between can and not. And when we contracted them, we use apostrophe by removing n of not and o of not. Not can't. And Allah's pronoun is he, and with capital letter H in any position of any sentence. God has took pity on him. It is past indefinite tense. We bring did, and the sentence is affirmative, the text question will be negative. We bring not and contracted from is didn't. And goddess, for goddess we use the pronoun she with capital letter S in any sentence in any position. Exclamatory sentences. When we get in text question any sentence started by what or how, we should not suppose them interrogative sentence, because there are three kinds of interrogative sentence in English language. Yes no question, and they are started with auxiliary verb. W's question, they are started with W's words, and tag question. Tag question is a kind of interrogative sentence. So interrogative cannot be interrogative. So when we get in tag question sentences started by what or how, they are surely exclamatory sentence, and the subject of exclamatory sentence and verb are at the last of sentence. At the last of the sentence of exclamatory sentence are verb, and before them are subjects. What plus an plus adjective plus noun plus subject plus verb. How plus adjective plus subject plus verb is the sequence are there. For example, what a nice girl she is. A nice girl, for a nice girl, the pronoun is she, and she is third person singular, so the verb is. We take is at auxiliary verb, and the sentence is affirmative, text question will be negative. We bring not and contracted from, we use contracted from agent, and we take she pronoun as the subject pronoun, and we use at last a question mark, and a question mark, a note of interrogation. I mean, what an excellent matter it is. An excellent matter, for an excellent matter we use it as subject, and subject is third person singular, so the verb is used here. So we bring is, and the sentence is affirmative, the text question will be negative. We bring not and use contracted from agent, and take the pronoun of subject it, and use an interrogation mark at last. How beautiful she is. So is the verb and she is the subject. We take is, and the sentence is affirmative, text question will be negative. So we bring not and use contracted from agent, and we use the subject pronoun she, and use a note of interrogation. How charming the scenery is. Is the verb, the scenery is the subject, so we bring is, and the sentence is affirmative, text question will be the negative. We bring not and use contracted from agent, and for the scenery subject we use it pronoun. At last we use a note of interrogation. Incomplete exclamatory sentence. Sometimes we find in an exam question paper incomplete exclamatory sentence. So we must complete the sentence in mind, and should answer correctly. For example, what a nice idea. What a nice idea. A nice idea is the subject here, but other part is understood here or hidden here. So a nice idea, for a nice idea we use it pronoun in our mind, and it is third person singular, so we can bring is verb or was verb for third person singular subject. It can be we bring is or was, and the sentence is affirmative, we make negative agent contracted from agent or wasn't, and use the pronoun it for the subject, a nice idea, it, and at last we use a note of interrogation. It can be isn't it or wasn't it. Both answers are correct. How poor? How poor? We can bring she or he, and according to the subject, we can bring is or was. Is or was. The answer is we bring is or was. The sentence is affirmative, so that a question will be negative. We make it isn't or wasn't. The contracted from, and we bring the pronoun he or she. We bring both of the persons or gender. Both answers are correct. Isn't he? Wasn't he? Isn't she? Wasn't she? It can be in four ways. All are correct. What a daring! What a daring! We can use here a boy, a girl, or anything. Anything. What a daring girl! So, girl, the pronoun of a daring girl is she, and we can bring is or was. Is or was. We bring is. The sentence is affirmative, so the question will be negative. We can use isn't or wasn't. And the pronoun she for a daring girl, isn't she or wasn't she. And at the last we use a note of interrogation. Contracted sentences. Contracted sentences. And there are two kinds of contraction: with subject, with subject, and with another is with not with auxiliary verbs. After with subject apostrophe d, we find, if we find with subject apostrophe d after this base form of main verb, surely it would be would or could or might. We know after modal auxiliaries there is modal auxiliary, base form of main verb. So the last letter is d, would, could, might. So it can be would, could, might. Would, could, should. Would, could, should. Would, could, should. And should can be used in special purposes, and could can be used for special purposes, and usually we use would. So we can use three words, any words of the three, but usually we use would. Subject plus apostrophe d plus first participle of main verb. We know after have, has, had as auxiliary verb, and after in these three auxiliary verbs the first participle form of main verb. So it must be had. It must be had. Have, has, had. The last letter is d, is had. If we find a subject plus s plus adjective or noun, it must be a linking verb. A linking verb. It is it can be is or was. Is or was. So it can be is or was. If we find subject plus apostrophe s plus first participle of main verb, it is must, has, because have, has, after have, has, had auxiliary verb we use first participle of main verb, but has only last letter s, so it must be has. The contracted form of have, we use ve, so it is have. For shall and will we use in contraction double L, apostrophe double L, so it can be shall or will. Subject plus apostrophe d plus noun, it must be possession, and it must be had, because when we use have verb, have, has, had as main verb, and they mean possession or right. So subject plus apostrophe s plus a noun, it must be possession, and it has the verb has last letter is has, so it must be has. For example, it meet you. We cannot understand the contraction here, the auxiliary verb here. So we must look at the main verb. There is base form of main verb. So we know after modal auxiliary there will be base form of main verb. So it can be would, could, should. We can use any of three. We bring would, the sentence is affirmative, the question will be negative. We make contracted negative, wouldn't, and use the pronoun I. Pronoun I, personal pronoun I, is always capital in any position of any sentence. At last we use an interrogation mark. That, gone. So there is past participle of main verb. It must be had, because we know after have has had the past participle of main verb. So go and gone. So it is had. We take had, the sentence is affirmative, the question will be negative. We make negative hadn't, contraction from, and we use the pronoun they. Hadn't they, we use a note of interrogation at last. He is honest. If we read it, he has honest, it is not correct in form and meaning. Meaning. So he is honest. It is here linking verb. We bring is, the sentence is affirmative, the question will be negative. So we bring contracted from isn't, and we use the pronoun he. At last we use a note of interrogation. He has, if we read he has a student, it cannot be appropriate in meaning, because any teacher should not have a student. Any teacher should have many students. So if we read he is a student, it is correct in meaning and structure. So we bring is, and the sentence is affirmative, the question will be negative. We bring contracted from isn't, and we bring the pronoun he. At last we use an interrogation mark. He is done. The main verb is past participle, so it must be has. Because the last letter of has is s. The sentence is affirmative. We bring negative contraction hasn't, and the pronoun he. At last we use a note of interrogation. If taken breakfast, take, took, taken, the first participle of main verb, so the verb must be have. We take have, the sentence is affirmative, the question will be negative. So we bring contraction of haven't, and the pronoun of I, capital letter in any position as a personal pronoun. At last we use a note of interrogation. Will go home. There are base form of main verb, so it can be shall or will. Both are correct. So the sentence is affirmative, so will not equal to won't, shall not equal to shan't. We must use one form. Won't not is correct, shall not is also correct, and the pronoun we. At last we use the note of interrogation. That, a car. That, a car, there is only one verb, and it is main verb. So we know when have, has, had are main verb, they mean possession. Or right. It is had. They had a car, but they have not any car now. So we bring had, and the sentence is affirmative, the question will be negative. We bring negative contraction hadn't, and the pronoun they, and a note of interrogation. She, if we read she is a car, she cannot be a car. So it is incorrect for meaning and a structure. If we read she has a car, it is correct. It is she is main verb here and means it means possession. She has a car. So we bring has, and the sentence is affirmative, so that a question will be negative. We bring contracted form hasn't, and we use she as pronoun. At last we use a note of interrogation. They do. Do is the base form of main verb, so it must be would, could, or should. Should can be used for a special purpose. Can be used for a special purpose. Usually we bring would for normal purpose, and so we bring would. The sentence is affirmative, so that a question will be negative. So we bring wouldn't the contracted from, and we bring the pronoun, and at last we use a note of interrogation. My dear students and pupils, no more today. Please subscribe my channel, YouTube channel, Amin Khan's Method, for learning English easily. Allah willing, I will appear before you with a new topics, with a new class. No more today. Fi amanillah.